proven if Cowboys win Super Bowl 2025. Because if you noticed, this is just like a far-fetched conspiracy theory. There's no truth to it, but the Cubs were losing for like 100 years. Then Trump won. Then the Cubs won again. So if Trump wins, that means the Cowboys are probably gonna
Maybe
go to the Super Bowl and win because they're like I guess 25 years is 100 baseball years for the NFL.
Wow, that makes sense. I was like, why is the sound coming out? Oh, it's right here. Okay. Now I need to get this moving and shaking. All messages. I need to share it. Okay.
I do like how that poster is like the from the mask of the worst Michael Myers movie.
Oh yeah, the fifth one,
The sixth one.
sixth one. Yeah, that one's the fucking worst. Thank you for saying it's the worst one because I know so many people that just want to die on the hill that Halloween, the Curse of Michael Myers is good. It's probably the worst one. It's so fucking bad.
I enjoy it just because it's Paul Rudd's first movie.
Well, I mean, it's the same year as Clueless, but I think he filmed it first.
Oh shit! I didn't know that was the same year as Clueless.
Same year, yeah. I think he filmed Nightmare first. All right, hold on. I'm gonna hit record in a second, but I gotta share this first. I share this out to a bunch of heathens. All right, so who is here? I'm gonna like my own stream because I'm a narcissist. What's it doing? All right, almost done. I just closed it out. Ooh, there's people in here now. Relic is here. What is up, Relic? Yeah, so we'll deviate to the chat a little bit from time to time. People say, ask questions and all that good stuff. I'm just going to hit record. Fuck it. Try to share it to X real fast, even though I have no follower in there. All right, we are officially live. James Garibay is here. Austin comedian, Austin scumbag, Austin legend. Welcome to the podcast.
Hell yeah, man! Thank you for having me.
Fuck yeah. I was saying in my intro, you're one of like 5 comics, maybe less, that I can just like say anything to. Whether I'm just like wishing death upon people, bitching about stand-up comedy, just talking about things that'll get you canceled. Like, you're one of the few, so congratulations.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me.
Hell yeah. So how long you been doing comedy, and did you start in Austin?
I've been doing comedy for 6 years. Only been funny, measurably for 3. And
That's an honest statement. Everyone else in Austin is trying to record their first fucking special 7 months in.
Yeah, no, I agree to that statement. I started in Austin. So, yeah, I started in Austin, and I was here for that boom when Rogan moved in. So I had to adapt and get decent or mediocre real fast.
Right. Someone just sent me $1 on Cash App right now. I know it's in the info on the YouTube, so that was interesting. What does it say? For love me, Dad. All right. Whatever the fuck that means. Sure. Sorry about that. Like, that's never happened. What was your first room, Mr. Tramps, like a lot of people, or did you start elsewhere?
No, my first room was Luster Pearl East. Mr. Trump's was maybe like my third room. Third or fifth room.
Third or fifth? That's quite a jump. So, what do you say it was called?
A Luster Pearl East. It was a Monday night mic.
Was it like a bar or a?
It was a bar, but it was inside a house. Like you could tell it was a gentrified house.
Okay. Who ran that?
I forgot his last name, but it was
someone
Scott.
that's dead and doesn't matter anymore. Just like, do you ever like get memories on your Facebook and you just see yourself on a flyer and you're just like, how I forget that person was even a thing. That happens to me every fucking day, or like every week. I go on Facebook Memories and I see a flyer or a show or something I'm tagged in from like 2014, and I'm like, I didn't know those people still existed, and they don't. You click their page and they're like done with comedy, like they're no more.
Very few times that's happened, but not that often.
Well, you're only 6 years. Wait till you're 10, 11, 12, and most of your friends will be fucking dead or have stopped comedy, or they're just you just forget that they existed.
Yeah, I'll wait until that time.
All right, I'm tagging us on Instagram so we can have people show up. And what the fuck? So, are you from Austin, or what's the deal? Like,
No, I'm from El Paso.
oh my God, Texas. Another El Paso comic. Josh Castro was on the last episode, literally a week ago.
Oh, that's funny.
So fuck it, let's just call it the El Paso podcast. Have you ever gotten that comic strip, or you also like have not infiltrated that? It's like you have a better chance of breaking into a fucking prison, like at Guantanamo Bay, than getting booked at the comic strip in El Paso.
I actually broke into the comic strip.
Wow.
With Willie Barcena and DJ Vasquez.
Okay, there you go. I mean, yeah, through the help of a fucking nationally touring headliner who's been on the Tonight Show 50 fucking times. That's what it takes to get in there. But God forbid you send an email with like a good video if you ever hear back.
I broke in and then I think I got banned.
You got banned?
Cause because you brought up how it's hard to get into that club, but
yes.
I was doing a bar show with Yoshi one day.
Okay, shout out to Yoshi. What's his last name again?
Obayashi. Me and Yoshi Yoshi and Ryan Joseph did a bar show, and that really pissed off the owner for some reason.
Oh, hell yeah, it would piss him off. Bart, whatever the fuck his name is. Is it Bart Reed?
Yes, Bart Reed. He got really pissed off at that.
Of course.
And
I don't think he's right for getting pissed off, but you guys not knowing that would piss him off is kind of like you should know.
Yeah, I didn't know that was going to piss him off. It's because, long story short, they sent him, Ryan Joseph sent him an EPK, and he left us on red, so he didn't want to put on the show there.
That's going to be the name of my fucking first comedy specials, Left on Red. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, because the amount of times, I mean, just tell me no is better than leaving me on red, in my opinion. But no, continue the story, though.
Yeah, so we sent him an EPK to get a dark show there. Because the way my mind was working at the time was El Paso's a military town, so you got military people and like cops and firemen with fucked up senses of humor. So, and it's a border town, so we're like, oh, let's go perform for El Chapo.
Yeah.
And so he left us on red, so we're like, okay, well, we'll bring a dark show to this Old Sheepdog Brewery, which is a pretty good venue. And so I only sold 60 tickets that weekend, but it was enough for him to catch word of me or get word about me, and somebody hired me to be their feature act, but then had to call me. Somebody hired me to be a feature act before I had any business being a feature act, so it kind of worked out in the end. But she called me a few weeks before the show, and she was like, "Hey, Bart is still pissed at you for that Yoshi and Ryan Joseph show.
Oh God!
So you can't be my feature act that weekend."
Yeah, I hate this passive aggressive shit from bookers. Like, I'll even say his name. I don't give a fuck. Ron Heron, a.k.a. Heron Entertainment, who runs shows all over the country. I hit him up because I'd done shows for him in the past, and he was mad that I did a room after he lost it, that Austin Comics started running it, and I did a spot there, and instead of, like, messaging me, and even if he told me, fuck you for that, it's like 2 years later I message you, and then you bring that up like a scorned ex-girlfriend who's digging up the past. Like, how the fuck can you not just mention that to me when it happened so I know, and then I could either apologize or we could argue about it, but like years go by and then you fucking bring it up. It's just annoying to me.
Yeah, I hate how comedians can get so emotional or attached to petty things like that.
Right. Okay, the chat is kind of popping off. How big of a Guerrero fan is he? Wrestling fan in general? I saw WWE in El Paso. before it was lit as fuck. I guess they're asking if you're a big wrestling fan because your connection to. That's a reach. He's from El Paso. You just bring up a deceased wrestler. I mean, El Paso's known for more than just Eddie fucking Guerrero.
I didn't even know that we're known for a wrestler, so that's how much I know about wrestling.
He's from El Paso. Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. Big Juan is here. Viva la raza, but I'm white. Well, that's cute. Yeah, comedy's just. People have been complaining a little bit that I need to get more than just comedians on here. I'm like, I don't know anything else in life right now. Like, I don't have like a wife, a girlfriend, kids, a job. All I do is fucking comedy. All I know is comedy. The only people I talk to are comedians, so fucking deal with it. You know what I mean? We can talk movies, we can talk sports a little, we can just dance around whatever's going on in our lives outside of being on stage, but for the foreseeable future, there's just comics on this podcast, you know? Like, what do you want from me?
Yeah, I understand the scenario completely.
Well, just like bringing, like, there's a big element because comedy's a business, clearly. You know, a lot of people forget that, and I need to be reminded myself sometimes. But when it comes to booking good comics on shows that where you want to get an audience, unless you're famous or you're really popping online, the best comics don't have people they're going to bring out because their whole life revolves around getting on stage and getting funny and getting better. And if they're really worth a shit, they spend most of their time doing comedy, so they don't have, like, friends and family and coworkers and shit. So it's like, in order to pack the house, you either need to get someone that's really succeeding or has been doing it for fucking years, or someone that's new. That's why, like, when I would run shows, I'd always try to shoehorn in a comic that doesn't suck that bad, but is going to bring people.
Yeah, that's why I was told early on to, whenever you're running shows, hit up like an open micer or two.
Yeah.
Because they're going to bring like 3 to 5 people effortlessly.
For sure. Yeah. No, and that's a good, if you're, I hate producing shows. I'm bad at it. Like, I've done it a lot over the years. Not like a ton, but, you know, the only thing I've really done in Austin was Tramps for like 3 months, and that folded. And that was an open mic anyway. But if you're running shows, you always get like a guest spot for someone that's going to bring people. And I mean, it's not really using them because they're excited to do the show anyway. So it's like you both get something out of it.
I miss Mr. Tramps. That's such a. If it wasn't for Anderson Mill, Mr. Tramps would be another Austin staple.
Well, someone tried to bring it back after I ended it, even, and I guess that lasted like 2 weeks, and then they stopped it. Something like that. I forget his name, but I think it's like some black homeless comedian tried running a show there.
I thought he was lying at first, and he just verified that it was actually he was telling the truth right now.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember his name. He just sent me some fucking message like yesterday, and I had not spoken or seen him in like a year, and like yesterday he came out of nowhere, and then I just remembered that he ran something at Mr. Tramps as well.
He told me it was like a mixed mic at Mr. Tramps.
Yeah, it was like rappers and like poets and like so there's this thing that producers try to do to get more people out, and I get where they're coming from, but they're like, let's just do everything so we can have more people show up, and it's never good. And if it is good, it's not because of the comics. It's like comedians will ruin something like that. I've seen it myself several times where there's a variety and comedians we're degenerates, and there's more of us than them, and there's gonna be a few acoustic guitars, a couple of poets, and then 19 comedians show up and fuck the whole thing up without fail.
Yeah, that's why in my early days, before like the Rogan boom, I used to do mixed mics, and me and DJ Vasquez used to do like music open mics. I would just keep that stuff too secret.
Oh yeah, you got to keep it to yourself. There was one in Tucson, like years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. So I was like 3 years into comedy, and I was like, okay, like if the crowd was lit and I was like playing above, I was compared to sports. If I was like averaging more than I do and I just go off that night, I would have like a good set. And it was like people eating dinner. There was like 3 musicians, a couple of poets, and I was like the comic. And they got to know me. And like, oh, Ali's here, the comedian. Other comics caught wind of it. It lasted like another month, and they shut it down because they're like, no, we're done with that. They still had it, but they banned comedians.
Speakeasy used to be like that when the pandemic was happening. The only mic at the time was at Round Rock Tavern.
Okay.
And I found that Speakeasy had a mixed mic, and for like 2 months, I had basically that place to myself. And then when people caught word of it, the host was smart. He only let 5 comics up at a time. But then it was like maybe like a year ago he stopped letting comics go up because people were being too frivolous,
Yeah.
myself included.
It
But
happened at a place in there was a place in Phoenix when I lived in Phoenix. It was a fun show too. It was like outside. It was a bookstore, but then there was a backyard. So it was like a house converted into a store. And then once you walk through the whole store, there was a giant backyard area with a huge like elevated stage, and people would have lawn chairs, and they would do like concerts and this open mic, but it was a mixed mic, and the comics would just show up and they put a cap on comics, and then eventually it started to become passive aggressive where they kept bumping the comics until you knew they were just fucking with you. And sometimes the comics would like steal the show. Like comics ruined a lot of shows, but comics would make some of the musicians like jealous because we'd fucking murder, and then they would I don't know, you could feel there was just like fuck these guys for like, showing us up basically. Okay, what did Relic say? He said El Paso. Wait, what did he say? El Paso isn't known for shit but Mexican stuff. El Paso reminds you to never go to Mexico. LOL. Wow.
best Mexican food on flat Earth. That's what El Paso has. That's good.
Really? I mean, Tucson has good Mexican food too. There's like a I don't know, people get like almost territorial and like aggressive and religious about food from their neck of the woods and where they're from. Like people like Phoenix versus Tucson, like yeah, it's U of A versus ASU in college sports, but it's also like Mexican food versus Mexican food as well. Like
yeah,
it gets real aggressive.
I almost got in a bar fight and an open mic for saying that El Paso had better Mexican food than San Antonio.
You almost got in a bar fight over it?
Yeah, some people got like super offended by that.
I actually have not had Mexican food in San Antonio. I've been to San Antonio 3 times in like the last 10 fucking days, and I have not even like eaten there.
There's good restaurants there, but it's not. We're really spoiling Austin.
There's good food in Austin. A lot of people complain, and I get it. It's food truck capital of the world, and it's kind of a turnoff where you're just like, why is this like the highest rated fucking whatever? And it's on the side of a truck in an alleyway with a dumpster with graffiti on it. It's like, no, trust me, it's lit. And then the price pisses you off too, because you're like, I have to eat outside on the side of the fucking sidewalk, but it costs $19 for 4 tacos. But then they're lit and they're good, So
Yeah, that's frustrating, but the taste outweighs the price for sure.
dude, I mean, that's everything. I see people bitch, and I'm guilty of this too. We complain about prices, but it's like everything is going up. Rent is going up. Inflation is inevitable and constant, but it has hit like insane levels lately, and you can't justify some of these prices. I'm the worst because comedians come to town or friends come to town. They're like, "Where's the best place to eat?" And I go to H-E-B or Walmart and I buy enough groceries to last me until the next time I go there. I eat twice a day usually, and I will go months without eating out. Like literally, I'll go like 4 months without eating one fucking meal outside of my apartment. That's how boring and weird I am.
Damn, I'm jealous of that. I wish I could have that discipline. I'll be lucky to make a week, if anything.
Dude, I see your fucking Instagram stories and you have like food porn where it's just like the best looking fucking food in high definition with like a romantic fucking song playing. He'll be playing like Michael Bolton as he shows like some chicken sandwich that's like dripping with like sauce. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's Tumble 22, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Tumble 22. I don't know if you've ever met Feng Chao, but I introduced him to Tumble 22, and he's a fried chicken enthusiast.
Okay.
He won't fuck anywhere else with fried chicken other than that place, and maybe one other
Really?
place. But what separates Tumble from what separates Tumble really is the sandwich of the month. Like
Okay.
their sandwiches of the month are, I'll die on the hill for those sandwiches of the month. By
And
saying
they're
that.
always good, even though it varies every month. There's not like, oh, last month it was way better than this shit. Like,
Yeah, there are some, but very rarely. I would have to say 9 out of 12 months they're tremendous.
okay, this person, what do you say? I'm going to Cozumel, Mexico soon. I'm hoping to get some good Mexican food. It's a tourist destination, but hopefully they got some authentic shit. You can reminisce about eating during height of COVID, eating outside like a bum. Yeah, well, at least we're not doing that anymore. That's the thing about the whole COVID. I mean, we can't really talk COVID on here because we're on YouTube, and I literally almost lost my entire channel talking about it.
Oh, I
So
remember that.
we're just gonna gloss over that. I had something I was gonna say. Now forget it. You all know. If anyone's listened to like any episodes circa 21, 22, I dedicated a whole portion of this podcast called Trust the Science, and I basically said shit that like a fat conspiracy theorist, fucking MAGA Republican would talk when it comes to like the vaccine and all that, and that got me into hot water on this channel. So I pulled my podcast from YouTube entirely, put everything private or outright deleted it, and I just stopped doing it, and then went audio only for like the last year and a half, and now we're back on YouTube, but with a more like, we don't have to talk about that. Like,
Yeah, no,
that's
that's
what
good.
it became. I am still fasting. So you want to talk about discipline and not just to make this about me. I'm currently on, let's see, you're going to think I'm a fucking lunatic and you're going to be like, what is wrong with you? I'm on 148 hours of no calories, no food, doing one of those ultra fasts again.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Last time I ate was Monday at noon.
I can only do 48, maybe 52 hours at a
Okay.
time.
I'm trying to get to 200. I don't know if I'm going to break it tomorrow. I don't know. It's like, because I'm going to South Padre Island on Wednesday, and then I'm in McAllen Thursday, I think. So I would have to go till Tuesday at 8 p.m. And here's the gory details. Once you break a super long fast like that, you got to clear your afternoon, clear your night, because you're going to shit like you were just poisoned by something. Like, even if you start off slow, you eat something real small, you wait 30 minutes, and then, but once you really eat, you're done. Like, you think you're okay, and then 45 minutes pass, and you're about to shit your fucking pants. So, like, I don't know if I'm booked on anything Tuesday night or what. So I might break my fast earlier that day, so that night I can get on stage. So, yeah, that's what, I guess, first world problems, kind of, even though I'm starving myself, and that's kind of an African thing to do. So I don't know. I'm confused with what the hell I'm doing, basically.
There's a lot of health benefits to those types of fasts.
Oh, hell yeah, they are. Even, like, my complexion will start to look better after, like, day 4 or 5 and shit. I'm on day 6 right now. I drink black coffee, I drink water and electrolyte packets and sea salt. And that's it. I chewed a little bit of gum the other day, but that doesn't fucking count. Like, there's some people that say you can go up to 50 calories, and as long as you don't break that, you're still in the fasted state or whatever, but spoiler alert, Ollie is an alien. Well, sure.
Yeah, I really think that shit kills cancer cells.
There's a comic in Phoenix who went 40 days, and he had like a cancerous tumor, and it shrunk by 80% by the time he was done with a 40-day fast.
I 100% believe
And he lost, like, I think in 40 days, he lost like 50 pounds, and his cancerous growth shrunk almost entirely. And I'm not an expert on what the exact biology and scientific explanation of what it does, but I know that cells in your body will be replaced and replenished with new cells. And it helps with so many different things. There's been scientists that say it's the only measurable thing that can actually slow the aging process, that they can account. Like, there's supplements, go in a hyperbolic chamber, get your blood fucking replenished with someone else's, do all that shit.
Eating babies.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton giving you a dead fetus smoothie will do it as well. But they say that you can measurably see that it slows aging, supposedly. Don't fucking quote me on this. But I know I feel good. Like, even on stage, like, sometimes I start to think sharper, as weird as that sounds. Like, I'm like, by day 4 or 5, I'm on stage, I'm just like, oh, I'm firing from the fucking hip faster and more sharp, if that makes sense.
No, I know what you're saying.
I actually like the challenge. I'm such like a weirdo that sometimes I'm like gonna cave. I'm like, oh my God, it's day 4. I'm fucking starving. And I just try to just focus on something else. And before I know it, I forgot that I was even feeling that way like the day before. And I'm just like, and I deliver food while doing this shit. So I'm like smelling delicious food, starving to death. And I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
That's discipline right there. That kind of reminds me of the movie Dodgeball with Ben Stiller, how he puts electric clamps around his nipples while looking at cheeseburgers.
Right.
And so if he like tries to take a bite, he shocks himself. Not that extreme, but it kind of reminds me of that.
no low sugar issues. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not an expert. All I know is that the human body and the human mind is fucking amazing, and as long as you don't have like any like real health problems going into a fast, I think most people can benefit from doing it for at least a couple days. I tell people try 24 and then try 48 and then, do some research and see where you're at and challenge yourself.
Yeah, I think a 72-hour fast per year for one person that doesn't have any like underlying health issues is optimal.
See, I used to think it was something that you do annually or every several months, but I've been doing these fasts like 4 times a year now, 5 times a year, where I just...
Damn.
And the last one I did was like July, and I went 196 hours. I almost got to 200. And then breaking the 200 threshold would have been at like 4 in the morning, and I was just like, I don't want to go way over 200, which I probably should have done that. So I just ended up breaking it in the day and then stopped at 196.
What's the most amount of weight you've lost from those fasts?
I don't fucking weigh myself. I just noticed that I'm sure I lose significant amount, and I'm pretty light anyway. I'm only like 165 right now probably, but all I know is I go from like, I look out of shape to where I have abs again, to where I'm like kind of ripped. And that's, that's a fun benefit too, and that's a definite plus, but I like the real challenge and like the health benefits that come with it for the most part. The only fast I like is breakfast. Is that Mike Ivy? What's up? Well, badum to that one. Well, yeah, just like I was raised Muslim and I used to do Ramadan where we would fast, which was, I don't know, it was easier and harder because you couldn't drink fucking water. But it was only from sun up to sundown. So it's like, I can go 12 hours. But when I was in school, and then I got to this phase in life where I would just lie. I'd be like eating Lucky Charms out of the box, quick, like shovel a bunch of handfuls in my mouth and chase it with water and then walk back out into the living room and pretend like I'm fasting still. I think every Muslim kid that grew up a lot, at least in America, did shit like that.
Yeah, I think so. It's hard to get a kid to commit to that because they don't understand fully yet.
Right. Dude, he said a comedian with abs. That's crazy. You'd
Yeah.
be surprised, bro. It's 2024 now. Health is more prominent and, a lot of comics have gone sober, have gone to the fucking gym. It's not what it used to be. It's not 2003 Comedy Central where everyone's fat and drunk anymore. Things are changing.
Yeah, especially in Austin. A lot of people are fit in Austin.
Right, for sure. I mean, it's different now. As long as you have war stories. I've always said be a drunken degenerate for at least a few years so you have fun stories and you can just experience it and then get your shit together. And I don't respect anyone that quits everything at like 22. And even if you die like a fucking SoundCloud rapper when you're 21 or quit when you're 33 like a normal fucking person. But for you to, the window of like 21 to like early 30s, those are the years to fuck up and really test your limits. But if you quit everything at 20, you're a coward. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Damn, I quit drinking at 29, but I was going at it since I was 18.
There you go. That's fine. You put in a decade. But comedy comes from pain, agony, depression. Not necessarily. A little bit, for sure. I mean, yeah, but it doesn't have to, and it's not only that. You can be... People think that if you're thriving in comedy or if you're doing well, it's because like you're fucked up and you're depressed. But you can become obsessed with the process, and comedy can heal too. So it's like, it's not, if your life is going well, it's not like your comedy will necessarily suffer. Sometimes you figure it out. It's a skill as well, and you can get good at it.
Yeah, it's a super unique type of skill.
And it's a challenge. It's so hard to get good at, and then it's even harder to find success in. So it's like a never ending. Like it's the least boring thing on the fucking planet. Whether you're great at it. So let's say you're great and you're touring and you're headlining and you have dates that you can't even keep up with. That's insane. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of work. Or if you're just trying to pay your fucking bills, survive, not get a day job that derails everything, working on bits, and so it's. Like I said, it's not fucking boring. That's for damn sure. Comedy comes from being funny. Thank you, Mike Ivy, because people have this stupid perception that you have to be like a fat alcoholic drug addict that hates his life in order to thrive in comedy or in order to figure it out. And I think I think a lot of comics use that as a way to justify going out and getting fucked up every night. Be like, well, I'm a comedian. It's the only job you can get drunk on stage and on the clock and bonding with other people and doing drugs. And, you know, you look into yourself when you take mushrooms on a Tuesday night at a dive bar open mic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people use that stigma in order to justify being an addict.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's kind of in my opinion, just a little bit of an open mic mentality, though, because when you get into like the bigger rooms, the bigger guys are a little bit more disciplined.
Right.
They kind of look at you to see if you take advantage of the bar tab. Or,
yeah.
Yeah, they pay attention to that type of stuff. So I learned early on that was not.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, it's just like in life. You meet people that are sober, people that are drunk, people that have issues, people that don't. So comedy, you know, is also you're gonna find different kinds of people. Because like I've hung out with Doug Stanhope a lot, who to me is one of the top 10 best living comedians in the fucking world, and he's on my Mount Rushmore of comics, and he is in his late 50s and he drinks like a fucking fish, hasn't really stopped. He's gone through phases of slowing down, but he's one of the best. And then, you know, this is a very polarizing person I'm going to talk about. I don't even need to give my personal opinions, but he's undeniably crazy successful. But Bert Kreischer, for example, like 10 years ago at Stand Up Scottsdale, right when the Machine story was picking up steam and he was getting real popular. No, actually it was Stand Up Live. It wasn't even Stand Up Scottsdale. He drank all the Heinekens. Like between the beginning of the first show and the end of the late show, he kept ordering Heinekens. Heinekens are like, we're out of fucking Heinekens and you're the only one who's been ordering them. You must have had 40 of those fucking things. And he's a dude making thousands of dollars hand over fucking fistfuls of cash. And you're going to say like, oh, well, he's not responsible and he's getting too drunk. Meanwhile, he's a fucking millionaire. You know?
Yeah.
So it's hard. My smart homie said Joker 2 was absolutely brilliant. All right, we're not talking Joker. We're in the middle of talking about whether you're going to drink yourself to death or kill yourself in comedy. So, like, we're not going to Joker right now. I haven't seen it. I'm probably not going to see it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to see it. But there's an infamous story about Willie Barcena at the comic strip.
Okay. What did he do? That's not when he fell asleep on stage.
That is when he fell asleep on stage.
Oh, my God.
And the bar, I think, I could get my stories wrong, but he only did like 10 minutes. And passed out on stage, but he passed out on stage, and then the next day the owner wasn't pissed. He just said, "Willie, you made me so much goddamn money. How can I be pissed?"
Oh my God! Fair enough. If you're money is what matters in anything that is business oriented. That's the whole fucking point. You're not there to impress people, to tap dance. Like if you got to make them. That's why TikTok and all this shit is so fucking popular. And you know, comedians get so mad that, oh, this TikToker is becoming a comedian. Well, you know what? Become a TikToker then. And then if you get popular, you can back it up on stage. What crying about it's not going to help anybody.
Yeah, it's only going to get them to sell more tickets probably.
Plus, that sounds terrifying to me. Imagine, because it's not like these people get 17 million followers on TikTok and then they just start doing open mics. They go straight to headlining without ever doing open mics. That would be like you're a brain surgeon, but you never even went to fucking medical school. Like, what are you going to even do? Like, you might know the utensils and kind of what you're supposed to operate on, but there's no fucking way you're going to be successful at it. I mean, I'm not saying like monetarily, like sell tickets, but like how are you going to operate? You know, like that would be so hard to just headline a show without being a stand-up first.
Yeah, you'd have to, you'd really have to think outside the box.
Right.
And like utilize that shit to, you're probably not going to learn because like, yeah, that'll take it'll just be hard to, you could learn. What I'm trying to say is you can learn a lot from doing that, but I don't know if they're going to be disciplined enough to learn a lot from doing that.
No, I don't. I mean, it's like you're skipping years of steps and experience and requirements, in my opinion. Dane Cook, I don't give a fuck. Dane Cook was funny. I know he got a lot of shit, but back when I was in like high school, I thought Dane Cook was hilarious, and I stand by it.
Yeah, he was
good.
He was funny when I was a kid.
He was fucking good. I don't know why people always bring him up. It's like, oh, Dane Cook was fucking horrible. Like, I don't get it. I mean, maybe he was a douche. Maybe he did things that other people looked down on. I think it was a lot of jealousy. He kind of came out of nowhere, and there was probably guys 15-year vets at the Comedy Store see this guy who's probably been doing it a few years at the time all over Comedy Central, bumping people, selling out rooms. They were like, fuck this idiot. We've all had a bit of that in us at a smaller level. Well, there's someone that's kind of new. You don't think they're funny and they're getting more than you. So naturally you're just like, fuck him, even though you're probably not right for thinking that way. He was just a bigger version of that probably.
Yeah, he discovered the algorithms before they were known as algorithms. Back in the MySpace days.
Dude, MySpace. Good Lord. The old top 8 that ruined families, that broke up marriages, that ended relationships. So I did this thing like when I just used to avoid all of that, and it still didn't work, and my girlfriend at the time still got mad. I just put like Fred Durst, Jonathan Davis, Violent J, fucking Redman. I'm like, I'm putting all artists in my top. So like, no one, not my dad, not my best friend, not my girlfriend. No one's in the top 8. It's just artists that I've never fucking met before. That's how you avoid, the rankings of, oh, I'm not in your top 8. Don't you love me? It's like, no, I put fucking, the lead singer of Godsmack up there instead. How do you like me now?
Yeah, I remember doing that. It used to be like all bands.
Yeah, that's the way to avoid it. Avoid the confrontation with people in your life.
I miss MySpace. I wish Facebook never became a thing.
It's insane that Facebook started off as like a college website. It was all for like 18 to 22-year-olds, and now it's just like your 68-year-old diabetic Republican aunt to post shit memes and argue with people about politics on. It's like the opposite. Like, it's all for boomers and 76-year-olds.
Those QAnon people too. That shit's funny.
Oh yeah, it's whatever side that you're for, the polar opposite, both of them. People just Trump derangement syndrome like you've never seen, and then people that are QAnon that think that Trump is a literal god. Like, both sides are just going wild on Facebook right now, and they're all in their 60s and 70s.
My favorite are the bot farms, the ones you could tell that are bots.
Right. Someone said Will Ferrell's not a stand-up, so I don't even get the question. Do you like Will Ferrell as a stand-up? He's not a stand-up. No, because I think he's funny. So we disagree on two things. You're wrong because he's not a stand-up, and I think he's funny. So boom. I don't know what to do with that information, but that's my opinion. He has funny movies. I grew up loving Will Ferrell movies. He was good enough in SNL and certain sketches. That's where I'm at with him.
I forgot he was in SNL. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
he was in SNL like the late 90s up until the early 2000s, and then he just started pumping out fucking movies. I think Step Brothers was great. Old School's funny. Did you ever watch Eastbound and Down?
No, I've never watched it.
Oh
Is that
my
with
God.
Danny McBride?
Yes, it's such a funny show.
No.
Will Ferrell he's not a major part of it, but his parts in the show were great. And that might be the funniest show of all time. As far as making you laugh, which is obviously a requirement of something being considered funny. But the laughs per minute, if you want to call it that, the laughs per episode is unrivaled almost. Yeah, what else did he make? Vice Principals, that's a good one too. And then I guess there's a new one called The Righteous Gemstones. I've never seen it.
That's a pretty good show. I've seen like the first season, maybe started the second season.
Danny
I liked
McBride
it.
is a goat, yeah.
Yeah, Danny McBride's a great writer. I liked his first Halloween. I wasn't a fan of the last two.
All right, so let's do it. It's October 20th. We're in Halloween season. I'm wearing a Creep Show the Crate shirt. We talk a lot of movies on here. What do you think the best Halloween is?
I'm trying to think hard about that. Damn, to be honest, it might be the first one that's the best one.
I think you got to go with the first one, I guess, just because it's the first one. But if you watch the movie just with no biases or no fucking just nostalgia or a prior opinion, it's not that good of a movie. And I know that's blasphemous to say, but the acting is absolute dog shit. And a lot of it. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is fine, but some of the other side characters, they're so fucking corny. Like when Homegirl gets choked to death in the car, she crosses her eyes and like sticks her tongue out like a fucking 4-year-old would pretend to do playing cowboys and Indians. It's like nobody dies like that. Like it's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. But it's kind of like it's not the first slasher, but it's like the slasher. So I have to put it probably at number one because it's the most important historically. But my favorite one is part 4 though because I saw it first.
Oh, okay, I could see. Yeah, that was actually the first Halloween I saw in its entirety too.
Yeah, it's a lot of people's first one because they started playing it on TV all the fucking time, and I thought that was Halloween when I was like 5 years old. I was like, this is Halloween, and then like when I was like 8 or something, I saw the original.
You know what movie I just saw again that like that made me not kind of blew my mind in a sense because it was like, damn, this is actually good. Was Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy vs. Jason is great. It's not the best movie of all time, but for what they had to work with and the way they pulled it off, I think they did fucking awesome. I saw it the day it came out in the movie theater when I was like a junior in high school. And I watch it like once every other year. You know, I should probably watch it before Halloween. That's a good one to watch. And Freddy Krueger says bitch like 10 times in it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I had that vibe watching it that last time that the studio really didn't have any faith in it, and they didn't expect it to be that good. And it just crushed the box. The acting's really bad, but it crushed the box office. And overall, as a standalone for a Versus movie, it was fucking great.
Dude, it is. They almost did Pinhead versus Michael Myers. Like, they were ready to do it. So, like, the next year, I've talked about this on here before. In like 2004, because that movie killed at the box office, and there's been like they were gonna do Chucky versus Leprechaun, they were Leatherface versus whatever. They were trying to think of other matchups because then Alien versus Predator happened, all of that. But they were gonna do Pinhead versus Michael Myers, and they convinced John Carpenter to direct it, and he agreed, and he didn't want to do it. He's mad that there's ever been even a Halloween 2. He wanted it to be a standalone and just move on with his life. But they like offered him more money than he had ever seen in his life, so he agreed. And then eventually they just killed it and just never went through with it. But it was going to come out.
I would have liked to see John Carpenter direct Halloween 2 because I think...
Well, he kind of did a little bit. So he wrote the script. So he revised the script, and then he was on site, and then he ended up just like helping out so much that they said that there was giant segments where he just kind of took control. But it still wasn't his entire directing, but he definitely has an imprint on the movie.
Yeah, I think from what I read, his version of Halloween 2 would have been Michael Myers killing people like in Die Hard, but it would have been like in a high rise.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Fuck yeah, it would. And then the third one is like the bastard stepchild that everyone hates because Michael Myers isn't there. And in 1982,
it actually wasn't bad.
I love it. I think it's good. I mean, it's not even that great of a movie. It's so nostalgic, and I watch it every year. And it's a good movie. It's just if it was just called Season of the Witch, I'm not saying it would be classic, but it would not have the horrible reputation that a lot of people put on it because. Can you imagine being in 1982 with no internet, with very few channels? I don't know how much TV trailers were happening. A majority of the people thought it was going to be Michael Myers, and it wasn't, and they got fucking furious.
Yeah, I do remember reading about that.
Well, it's just like now, Halloween Ends is the Halloween 3 of today.
Or the Friday the 13th Part 5 of the Halloween series, because it was that one was like Jason wasn't even a killer.
Well, yeah, that one gets away with it a little bit because that's a twist ending, and it doesn't even make fucking sense, though, because the guy who was the killer was taking supernatural, superhuman damage the whole movie. I was like, okay, he's a fucking... he's an EMT, but he took, like, something that would kill a fucking horse. He was, like, yeah, we accepted that because it's Jason, who's essentially a zombie, but no, it's just some guy. They didn't even think about that, did they?
No, not at all. They got lazy on that one.
I mean, granted, the spikes killed him, but I was like, he took a lot of other shit that would stop any human being, but anything to just twist. Well, just like, what pisses me off in movies? When there's a whodunit killer, and it ends up being like the cheerleader. I was like, that bitch was doing grown man shit the whole fucking movie, and we're going to say it was the 5'3", 87-pound cheerleader. Gorilla press slam that dude off the second story. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'll accept a ghost coming back from the dead before I accept a fucking small woman doing grown man shit in a movie. I don't give a fuck.
I was going to use Sleepaway Camp as an example, but then
it ended up being like a tranny or whatever.
They couldn't pull that movie off today without some sort of hate, or they would make it more trans-friendly.
Well, there was a movie recently called They Kill Them, And it was like, no, they slashed them is
Oh
what
yeah,
it
it
was
was Kevin
called.
Bacon.
Yeah, but it was like, when you put your pronouns in, it's a they, and then it's a slash, and then them. So it was kind of clever because it was slash, like SLASH, like slashing with a fucking weapon. They slashed them. And I watched it, and it was terrible, but it was like, I give them credit for kind of being creative. Yeah, Kevin Bacon. So fucking... He was in Friday the 13th, his first movie ever.
A lot of famous people, their first movies were slasher movies. Johnny Depp was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, and then Paul Rudd was a Halloween 6, I believe, and there's a few other
Matthew
ones.
McConaughey was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one with the Illuminati family or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, well, that was The New Beginning or whatever the fuck it was called. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The New Beginning from like 94, I think. So it was actually like filmed like before Dazed and Confused, but it came out afterward. But he acted in it prior. It was like his first actual appearance in a movie. And then there's like, I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe it was Ryan Gosling or someone was in a Unsolved Mysteries reenactment. You know Unsolved Mysteries, and they show the reenactment of what happened. Like, there's been some big time actors that did that shit in like the early 90s.
No, I didn't see that.
I forget. We were watching it one day and it caught us off. It might have been Matthew McConaughey. It was someone like that. We were like, holy shit.
Oh, John Travolta was in one of his first movies. Was in a horror movie with William Shatner, and there was a scene where William Shatner like loses his eyes, and they used that mold for him to be like eyeless. There was a
what's
Michael
it
Myers
called?
mask.
I know. What the fuck's it called? Hellrain or something?
Yeah, and then
Something like that.
that's what drew the inspiration for the Michael Myers mask.
John
and, like,
Travolta was in that?
Yeah, John
I know
Travolta was in that
He was in Carrie.
with Anton LaVey, the leader of the Church of Satan.
I didn't know John Travolta was in that. Let's see what movie that was. It's something Rain.
But another thing I wanted to say about Freddy vs. Jason was that if that was Robert Englund's last time as Freddy Krueger, he went out with style.
The Devil's Reign. So there
That
was
one.
rain in it.
Yeah.
From 1975, and then he was in Carrie the next year. Oh, you're saying if Freddy vs. Jason was Robert Englund's last hurrah?
Yeah, he went out in style. That was a great...
I don't know why the fuck they haven't let him do it one more time, because I'm like, you're an old burnt man anyway, so it's like, how does being 75 make a difference? Like, there's stunt doubles, there's CGI that doesn't look too bad if you can just use it in certain areas. I'm not saying, because I hate CGI when they make the whole thing like that, but there's ways around it. Like, I wanted him to do one more Freddy Krueger.
I still think he can do it one more, but yeah, if that was the last one...
He's taking his sweet fucking time, because I would say Robert Englund is 78. That's my guess.
I think you're super close. If he's not 78, he's 74 early or youngest.
He's 77, so...
You're super close.
Yeah, he turned 77 in June.
He was supposed to be... He auditioned for Luke Skywalker, and when they shot him down, Mark Hamill was his roommate. So he told Mark Hamill, Mark Hamill to go audition, and he did, and the rest is history.
Wow. I did not know that. That's fucking crazy. Freddy vs. Jason in space. First boobs I ever saw was in Starship Troopers. That was a good one. Anthony Hopkins, old white men are scary. Oh my God. I mean, did you like the new Nightmare on Elm Street? Even though it's like, what was it, 2010 or whatever, but
Not at all.
I hated it. I hated the look. I hated the story. I hated everything. I saw it in the movie theater the day it came out, and I was fucking devastated by how bad it was.
I hated that, and then the new Friday the 13th. I thought...
So here's the thing: the new Friday the 13th is so bad that it's funny. So like, I watched it a few times. I saw it in the movie theater, and I think I walked out because I was so mad. I left. I used to go to the movies by myself a lot, and I would get drunk in the theater too sometimes. And I left, and I watched it like 3 years ago, and it's so fucking bad that it's funny. Like, Jason is basically Jason Bourne meets Liam Neeson. He's doing like, dude, he hit someone with a crossbow, like precision accuracy from like 300 yards out. He's jumping off of rooftops. He's setting booby traps. He kidnaps a woman. Like, that was dumb. Jason will break your neck and fucking stab you through your back. He's not going to kidnap you for what? And the movie is riddled with just the fakest, most good-looking, basic Smirnoff Ice commercial ass-looking actors and actresses. Everyone is so hot and so like. There's a dude who shows up, and he's supposed to be like the creepy guy that everyone's like afraid of. Like, this dude's a weirdo. He's like 6'4" with abs. I was like, why is the creepy dude like a hunk? This makes no fucking sense. You should have like a hunchback weirdo that's scaring the chicks. Like, it made no sense to me. The whole it's fucking stupid, but I can appreciate it for being so bad that it's funny.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it.
Okay, the chat is going wild right now. I've not seen the new Beetlejuice yet. I need to see it.
Beetlejuice was good for it being a legacy sequel. Normally, those types of sequels suck.
I've noticed that, like, remakes are hit or miss. Remakes can actually be good, but anytime a sequel takes more than, like, 20 years, it's fucking garbage. Almost always. Like the new Dumb and Dumber. Fucking terrible.
Oh, that was a disgrace.
That's another one that really pissed me off because Dumb and Dumber might be my favorite comedy, and that was just so fucking bad. And then Coming to America. Fucking terrible.
Beverly Hills Cop 4 was actually pretty good.
Was it? I haven't seen that one yet.
It was. I haven't seen the third one, but apparently it's much better than the third one. But it was great. I enjoyed it.
Really? Well, I think maybe the rule we're saying has to do with them making a part 2 as opposed to like, oh, they're doing like a part 5 or a 4 or something. Because most of these there's one standalone movie and then 30 years later they make a part 2 and it's almost always terrible.
But Michael Keaton crushed it. He saved the Flash.
Wasn't he Batman in the Flash for like a cameo, or did he do like a full blown thing?
He had like a full 40 minutes in the Flash.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
It was great to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. I loved Michael Keaton as Batman. It wasn't close to the source material, but him as a Batman was it. Yeah, it just kicked ass.
Have you watched Penguin yet?
That's actually a good show.
I watched one episode. I liked it enough, but I watch on bootleg sites, so like I don't have Netflix or HBO. So I was trying to watch the second episode and it kept freezing. I got pissed off and then haven't watched it yet again.
I haven't seen from episode 3 until now, but it's a great show.
I mean, Colin Farrell looks crazy. He looks like if James Woods fucked Tony Soprano. Like he's like an uglier James Gandolfini. It's weird.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way. They were trying to get him on the internet for playing a fat guy.
Really? Oh, fuck off. They were like fat shaming because they should have gotten a fat actor is what they're saying. He played him in the fucking movie, and he's a killer actor. It's like, deal with it.
Did you like the new Hellraiser?
No, I loved it aesthetically and stylistically. It was cool, but I eventually and ultimately I didn't hate it, but I thought it was mid. It was just like, I'm not gonna watch that again.
Yeah, aesthetically, I thought it was great. I was kind of disappointed because it came pretty much directly from David Goyer.
Yeah.
But David Goyer is always a hit or miss because sometimes he'll make something really good, like Dark Knight, or sometimes he'll make something like really bad, like I think it was The Unborn.
Someone's saying link the bootleg site. It's like go movies dot whatever. Just type in go movies in Google and you'll find it. And it usually works, but it was my broken ass laptop. It was not having it that day. But
the first 2 original Hellraisers are
the
great.
first 2 are fire. I love Hellraiser 1 and 2.
There's a lot of substance.
And you know what? Just like the third one is so bad that it's fun. I like when they take to the streets and that CD face dude is going off. I think it's funny. But then the rest are just useless.
The 4th one was only cool because it was like the origin one, right?
I think so. I forget. There's like 8 of them. And then there's one from like 2016 maybe. And it's crazy because it has nothing to do with Hellraiser, but they just shot. It was a different horror film, and just to make more money, they just made it a sequel after the fact and just called it Hellraiser Bloodlines or something like that. And then they just filmed scenes of Pinhead after the fact and just put them into the movie, and none of it makes sense. It's so fucking stupid. It's like part 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah, I stopped it after the 4th one. Oh, what about the Rob Zombie Halloweens? Did you like those?
I hate those. I can't stand them.
I tried to watch the
I
second
think
one
Rob
too.
Zombie is outside of Devil's Rejects. I think his movies are fucking horrible. It's such like a try-hard edgelord teenager that's just like, oh, I'm gonna just cuss more and have rape scenes for no fucking reason and just try hard to impress my friends by being offensive. That's how I feel. I'm not offended by it. I can see what you're doing, and I think it's corny. That's just me.
Devil's Rejects was great. Did you like 1,000 Corpses?
Not really. I did like Devil's Rejects, though. A Thousand Corpses was okay. Devil's Rejects was kind of really good, actually. And then the first Halloween was bad. The second one is an abomination.
Yeah, I tried to watch the second one yesterday. I couldn't get through the first 20 minutes.
Oh, and I remember for a while, I was just like, I've been too harsh on these movies. It's still Michael Myers. It's still a crazy horror film. And then every year for like 5 years, from like 2015 until a few years ago, I watched them every year, and my opinion got worse about them. I'm like, oh, this is worse than before. I'm like, maybe I'm a little too harsh. There's some cool scenes. There's some fun kills. It's still a horror film because in my own head, I'm just like, if that one is that bad, then they're all kind of that bad. Because how good can you make a masked killer doing the same shit? Somehow he fucks it up and makes it a lot worse. Like,
yeah, as soon as the White Horse and the Taylor Swift looking bitch came out, I was out.
oh my God, yeah. And then Halloween Ends might be the worst one, in my opinion. That or Halloween 6. And then the Rob Zombie ones. Those, even fucking Resurrection, as stupid as that film is, it makes me laugh a little bit. And it's just like, it's really bad. But I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Ends, and Part 6, and Resurrection. Those are the big four that are the worst.
I agree. I think Halloween 6 is much better than the Rob Zombies and the Halloween Ends.
Yeah, it probably is, but it's so fucking bad. It just shits on the whole lore and just history. And I know, like, you can just watch, and a lot of the movies don't even acknowledge some of the previous films, but that one just, there's like 2 different versions too.
Yeah, the
there's
producer's cut's the best cut. If you could find that on YouTube.
Is that the one where there's like the pentagram in the fucking hallway and shit?
I think all versions, kind of.
Where Michael Myers is like standing there and he's like hypnotized and he can't move and you can control him and shit. Something like that.
Yeah, Paul Rudd cuts his wrist or cuts his...
I hate it. And then the other one, he beats him with a lead pipe and he bleeds green out of his eyes, and then Dr. Loomis dies as you hear him yell in the background. There's no good ending to either one. It's fucking trash. But then the quality is worse too. So like it'll switch from like theatrical quality and then it goes to like surveillance footage camcorder looking. It's insane. Like if you watch it, if you find the producer's cut, they used like real low end camcorder footage and then they just tried to edit it into the actual movie. And it's so noticeable. Like it looks crazy. The chat has completely gone to a fucking dead end here. The villain was Taylor Swift. Oh, that was way back there. If planned to yawn 2 cameras. What does that mean? Berlin Art Stories.
I think it caught me yawning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tim Curry is legend. What do you think of Tim Curry?
Oh, he's definitely a legend.
How is he still alive? I thought he was like on death's doorstep like 10 years ago. He's like wheelchair bound. He can't talk. He has like 76 cancers. I thought he was... The fact he survived COVID lets you what you need to know about fucking COVID. Because a man who's literally a puddle of goo in a wheelchair and he's still kicking now, like that's crazy.
Yeah, he looks like a walking stroke. That's what happened to him. But yeah, like you see him now and yeah, that guy obviously had a stroke. But
100%, yeah.
Great actor.
I mean, legend, where he was the devil, he was awesome. And I mean, obviously Pennywise. You know, even though I don't like the ending to that It movie, we've talked about it on this podcast before. I thought the ending was a little bit mid, but the journey to get there was fun, and it's another one that I watched as a kid, so it's always going to be special to me.
Did you like the new It?
I liked the first one. The second one kind of was it was too long, and it was trying to do too much.
Yeah, I haven't finished the second one, but the first one I thought was it was one of the best horror movies of this decade, to be honest.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. So the second one is way too long, but then it also somehow feels rushed down the stretch because it was supposed to be a trilogy. So they were like, we're going to cram part 2 and 3 into one overly long part 2. and it's not horrible, but it's just it drags, and then they try to wrap it up too quick, and it's just like, oh, this was unnecessary. They could have just, I don't know, they could have done some things differently.
Are you a fan of a New Nightmare?
Yeah, I like A New Nightmare.
Yeah, I like that one too.
It was good for sure.
What about the new Screams?
I haven't seen the last one, but the one from like a few years ago, I thought was, I mean, it was good until like the end. And here's the thing, you know what? Fuck Ghostface. The fact, all this time of year, they have all these fun memes, rap music videos, fucking sketches and skits where it's like it's Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, Leatherface, Hellraiser, Chucky, Pinhead, all of that's cool. Ghostface is not hanging out with them. Ghostface is some scorned 22-year-old who wants to wreak havoc on his town because his ex-girlfriend fucked his stepdad or whatever. Ghostface is not a legitimate horror villain. He's some guy who wears a mask. It's a horror movie. Wes Craven is great, but I don't think Ghostface belongs to be chilling with Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger. He's a normal dude.
Yeah, Chucky.
Or a fucking teenage girl for what some of these fucking sequels have.
Chucky's more qualified to hang out with those crews.
Yo, Nazim, what's up? Yeah, Chuck. I mean, there's a supernatural element to Chucky. He has a hell of a big body count, and it's just him. It's not 7 different people that have worn the same mask. You have to have real history with that single person doing the killing and shit. Ghostface isn't a real horror villain. It's some person that wears a fucking mask in a movie that's a horror film, but they're not hanging out with Jason Voorhees. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Have you seen Hostel?
Yeah, both of them. There's 2, right? There might be a third, actually.
There's a third one, but I only pay attention
It was
to
like
the first
straight
two.
to DVD bullshit or whatever.
Yeah. I was a big fan of the first Hostel. I didn't really care for the second one.
I've become a big softy with gore over the years. Because have you seen the Hatchet movies?
I've seen the first one.
They're all great. In my opinion. Because they're so cartoonishly gory, kind of like Terrifier a little bit. They're so gory that it becomes like easy to look at. But when there's like torture movies, sometimes as I've gotten older, it's harder for me to watch those as much.
Really? Like which ones?
Or like when people are just like doing, like they're being like cutting fingers off with pliers.
Oh, that's fucked up.
You know what I mean? Like pulling teeth out with like a fucking wrench, cutting, there's a lot of movies where they just do heinous things. Like the movie The Sadness. Have you seen that one? Have you seen Martyrs?
No.
There's a scene where he like just peels a woman's face off, like peels her whole body off. Like she's like a fucking peeling like skin off of a grape. And like that shit sometimes for me now is harder to watch than it used to be. Like I used to love that shit.
Did they do that in one of the Hellraisers?
They did do that in Hellraiser. You're right. I'm trying to think of specific examples, but then there's a movie like Hatchet or Terrifier where it's like it's so over the top that it becomes fun. I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about where there's a level of reality and realness to it where it's like this is not even a monster. This is just a guy torturing someone in a fucking chair. And that's worse than if like, some paranormal clown is cutting your head off backwards and twisting it off and pulling your spinal cord out at the same time. That becomes fun somehow. But if someone is like cutting chunks out of your face with a blade, that's worse.
Has there ever been a horror movie to where you're like, oh fuck, I'm actually a little bit fucked up from that?
Not really. There's been actual videos I've watched that have fucked me up. I mean, the internet's a dark place, and I've watched like Al Qaeda beheadings. I've watched like some real fucked up shit that I don't know what happened to me. Maybe I've just like, when I was a teenager, we would go on a lot of these weird websites and just watch actual executions and cartels cutting people's heads off with chainsaws. And we would like watch it and be like unfazed by it. And then now as an adult, like I can't watch that shit anymore. I mean, I will. I mean, Instagram, even on Instagram, you can see that shit. But I love the background, guys. Thank you, Nazim. Most of the shit I have not bought. So all this stuff behind me is mostly from podcast and live stream viewers over the years. So good stuff. Did you ever watch any of those fucked up videos online of people being murdered?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of beheading videos.
Yeah. I watched one where it was just an assembly line of shooting people in the head. It was in like Iran or something, and there was a bunch of people that they did something against what they deemed to be like unforgivable in a radical Islamic country, and there was like 30 or 40 dudes, and they just grabbed the gun and one by one shot them in the head. And I just watched the whole assembly line. I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, why would anybody watch this? And why is it even available on the internet to watch? And I was like unfazed, just started eating cereal afterward, like nothing had happened. Just the only thing I can't watch is animal shit.
I can't watch animal
I can
shit.
watch animal on animal. Like, have you ever seen like Nature is Metal?
Yeah.
I can watch like a hippopotamus like bite the head off of like a fucking gazelle or some shit, or I can watch like a lion just murder a baby fucking hyena or something. Fair enough, but when it comes to human beings, like if it's hunting, fine, but if it's like torturing an animal, I can't watch that shit.
Watch that shit. I'd rather watch 10 babies get killed than an animal.
Yeah,
not literally, but
yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like there's a bunch of shit that I've seen in the past that I don't even want to repeat. Actually,
there was like one beheading video that kind of made me laugh just because of the circumstances, and that was when those two Moroccan girls were hitchhiking in. Oh no, two Scandinavian girls were hitchhiking in Morocco, and like, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah,
if you're hitchhiking in Morocco.
That's fucking crazy.
And you get intercepted by ISIS. That the context of that was just dumb.
That's a little bit on them. That's a bit on you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's horrible it happened to them, clearly. But, yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
The context, yeah. Everything else is like, you kind of feel bad, but there's certain, like, even with cartel videos, you kind of don't feel bad for some people sometimes because you're like,
you chose to be in that world a little bit. I mean, unless you're an innocent family, they kick down your fucking door. I'm sure that happens occasionally, but a lot of these people just like a lot of these gang videos where people get shot and killed. I'm like, you are involved in a lot of shit, and unfortunately, you got caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time, maybe. But a majority of those people I watched one the other day where some dude got shot like in the head in a parking lot, and I'm just like, he was on some bullshit himself. That's sad that had to happen to him, but I don't know. I'm going to jinx myself. I live in a crazy neighborhood. I just talk to nobody and keep to my own. So far, so good. Don't start no shit, there won't be no shit, as the fucking philosopher Lil Jon once said. Words to fucking live by.
Yeah. When I first walked in here, it kind of looked rough.
Yeah. Well, then I keep my place nice, though. That's the thing. Like, there's a maintenance guy who I have, like, his personal number down. If it's, like, I don't even go through, like, the complex. He'll just come and do shit sometimes. And at one point, he came in, like, when I first met him, he came in with a mask. And then immediately he took it off. And he wasn't wearing the mask for COVID. He was wearing the mask because when he goes into other apartments here, it's so rancid and gross. And people live like fucking hoarders and their apartments stink. So he was like relieved. He's like, oh, shit, it's nice in here. And I was like, yeah, like, you wouldn't expect that in this complex.
Yeah, your apartment, inside your apartment looks like a first world apartment.
Right.
You step outside and you're like,
yeah, outside is a rough. Even like the name of the apartment complex is High Point. I don't know if you know what a High Point is. It's like the worst gun that money can buy. It's like you can buy a High Point 9mm for like $80, and it's made with like Pez dispenser plastic, and it jams all the fucking time. So that's kind of ironic. Smart Nazim.
Oh, have you ever watched Freddy's Nightmares? That's
yes,
a good show.
I think it's pretty terrible, but it's fun. So as a kid, I watched it, and I thought it was going to be like Freddy Krueger. No, but it's like an anthology where Freddy kind of hosts it a little bit, and then it's a new story every time, which is cool. But as a dumb child, I was just waiting for Freddy Krueger to show up, and he like rarely did. And it would just, as a child, it soured me. I was pissed off. I was like, I want Freddy Krueger, not some stupid story about some boyfriend who's going to kill his girlfriend or whatever the fuck it is. So.
Did you watch Tales from the Crypt?
I love Tales from the Crypt, dude. Look behind you. Crypt Keeper with Wonder Woman on his shoulder.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I have several several Crypt Keeper shirts. That's how much I spent going to a concert tonight. What concert did you go to, Nazim? He's going to say something crazy like Bon Jovi or some shit. I don't know. I think we're gonna wrap this up though because I'm gonna release this today, and then I'm gonna get back on the fucking road and do more deliveries on an empty stomach like a lunatic, and then I'm gonna do a spot at Maggie Mae's, and then tomorrow is another Kill Tony-less Monday night.
Yeah, Austin becomes a ghost town when Kill Tony's not in town.
There's still the mothership open mic, which I've had less faith in lately because it's been months since I've gotten on it, and I've kind of just, no shade to them, I've just shifted my personal goals, and I'm not putting as much into that as I used to because I would get on a lot and I would do well and it wouldn't amount to anything. So now I'm like, there's so much other fucking stand-up and opportunities and things to be working on to where I'm not like, I'll sign up, but I no longer get like annoyed if I don't get on or if I do get on and I kill. I'm just like, it's just another set. It's a place to be right now. Because so many people act like it's the end-all be-all to. I see these comics that, and before we end this, and just to talk a little more shit, I see comics that I see them around town. They're like a 1 year in open micer. They never have a good set, and you would act like you'd think that they won the fucking lottery when they post on their Facebook, "I got on Mothership." It's like, what do you think that's gonna do? Like, what is that gonna do? You still have 7 years before you're fucking funny anyway. So it's just like, enjoy the process more than just thinking that like 1 3-minute spot at Mothership is gonna change your fucking life, because it's not.
Yeah, and even if it does, you're probably gonna fumble.
Yeah, for sure. And like naturally, people, as a new comic, you're gonna fumble. Hell, I fumble all the fucking time. Like, it is what it is. It's hard. Like I said, it's like sports. Some nights you go off for 36. Other nights you foul out with 7 points and your team loses by 50. It just fucking happens sometimes. Deal with it. And I guess that is it. Anything you want to plug, or where can people find you?
Instagram, Mexican Elon Musk. I think, my Twitter's the same thing.
Mexican Elon Musk. Very clever name that's easy to remember, easy to find, and none of this _/17 fucking numbers like an AOL screen name. It's Mexican Elon Musk. Super easy. So, yeah.
If you're on the east side of Austin tonight, I'll be doing Robert Tabert's and Ramin's show. I think that's his name, Ramin?
Ramin, yeah.
I'll be doing their show tonight at 7 o'clock at East Austin Comedy Club. And then
right now we got someone from like fucking Italy. We got people from Ohio here, but and this is gonna be out probably by the time you're on stage. So it's still fun to talk about what you're doing though. So before I end this, I say this at the end of every episode. I say, so until next time, kiddies, stay safe, stay healthy, don't be a bitch, and stay up.